But first, for a minister in trouble, the easiest thing in the world is just to announce an inquiry. An inquiry gives hope to people who want change, but an inquiry of itself doesn't upset the people who want to keep the status quo. It allows the minister to say he's doing something, but it doesn't require the minister actually to do anything. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes inquiries really are necessary, but often they're the first resort of weak ministers. Water Minister David Littleproud and the National Party more generally have been under the pump for mismanaging the government's response to the drought, for their lack of cut-through and for failing to give farmers a fair go. Now, under a referral of powers from the states, it's the federal government that's responsible for the management of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. And under the legislation passed in the late days of the Howard government, when Malcolm Turnbull was Water Minister, in fact, water was taken off farmers and given to an entity known as a Commonwealth Environmental Water Holder. Essentially, so it could keep flows down the Murray into the lower lakes in South Australia, keep them full of fresh rather than salt water. And in doing so, like submarines and industry pork barrelling, it was also meant to save a few votes for the coalition in South Australia. Understandably enough, as the drought has worsened, farmers in New South Wales watching water flow past their doors on its way to South Australia or to replenish swamps along the way, well, they've been pleading with the Water Minister to make more water available to them, to keep their crops and their cattle alive, and of course their towns too. After a couple of weeks ago, months and months of pleading and lobbying came to a head with the Can the Plan convoy, because they wanted change to the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. And the protest groups, well, they bowled up to Parliament House to let our leaders know exactly how they felt.
You could walk up there tomorrow and tell the Liberal Party, we're crossing the floor, your government stuff, do something. You could do that tomorrow. I don't know if you're sitting tomorrow.
You might save your jobs then.
The National Party is not going to exist after the next election unless you grow some spine and stand up. Where's the passion? I haven't seen any passion from you. You're like a poker player.
We'll talk about passion. The response, you guessed it, let's have an inquiry. Even though what's necessary is screaming bloody obvious. In the short run, the government must give basic communities priority over the environment and make environmental water available to farmers and towns at least until the drought is over. And in the long run, the government needs to get cracking and build dams. Dams needed to give us more available water because, as everyone who's thought about this for more than 2 seconds knows, Australia has no lack of water. What we have is lack of water management and, quite frankly, lack of political will. But rather than upset the Green lobby, Minister Littleproud took the lazy way forward of fobbing everyone off with an inquiry to put off hard decisions. This was never going to work. I said so at the time, even if some in the Canberra gallery fell for it, and obviously today, the political trick, it started to unravel. South Australia said it wouldn't give up any of its water. Victoria said it wouldn't give up any of its water either. And New South Wales insisted that it needed more water now and couldn't wait for an inquiry to report and get it. So the ball's back in the federal government's court, as it was always going to be. Frankly, any minister who resorts to an inquiry when it's obvious that a decision has to be made is not a minister that's up to the job. And once it's obvious that a minister is failing to do what's needed, well, higher authority needs to step in. In this case, the Deputy PM and National Party leader Michael McCormack should just tell Littleproud that more water must be made available for farmers. But the National Party's leadership fragility means that he's unlikely to give an order to a rival. If this isn't sorted and sorted quickly by putting people first, next time it won't be the hapless minister and the National Party that the protesters will have in their sights, it'll be the PM and it'll be his government. As I keep saying, and you keep saying to me, the quiet Australians will only stay quiet if the governments are working for them, not against them. And for a coalition government that was elected in 2013 with a plan to build 100 new dams, well, 6 years on and counting, they've got done about sweet bugger all. And it's a problem for them, for the coalition, but of course a bigger problem for our country.